recruiting, we can discuss the 2 commits that Iowa's nailed down these last few days, and still positives coming. The recruiting weekend that Iowa had, I've said this on this show before, I've said it on my channel, the recruiting weekend that Iowa had at the end of June where they had a bunch of these official visits, it'd be hard to go back and track productivity from previous recruiting weekends official visit weekends, I should say, from previous cycles, if you will. But I would venture to say that this has been one of the more productive official visit weekends in recent time. You think about Caden Proctor, obviously that's where it starts. But, Trevor Lauk was a 4-star offensive tackle. You've got Kenneth Merriweather and, Khalil Tate, who both had, really good 3 stars. I mean, just look at the offer list from these guys. A lot of schools across the country, not just Midwest schools. We're talking SEC. We're talking the Oregons of the world. And then you've got, guys like Zach Ortworth at tight end who Iowa really needed. I mean, the list goes on. And they still got opportunities to get a couple 4-stars. They got Kendrick Gilbert in play still. Iowa's in his top 4. Jordan Allen's still in play. I don't know what to think about Asa Newsome. He's an Iowa kid. He's certainly taking his time, which is fine. He's got plenty of time, but I'd like to think that Iowa's got a pretty good shot, although I don't know Asa. I've never had a conversation with him in my life. You just kind of assume, given his recruitment, that perhaps Iowa's the favorite there. They've lost a couple guys. Logan Howland was one that I had felt good about for a while, and he committed to Oklahoma. Iowa was in his top 2. So he was teammates with Marco Linez. But, he's a tackle, and we kept talking about stockpiling these big guys. At some point, I just would have to believe, even though I was told prior to Caden Proctor's commitment that if he committed, it would not affect Logan Howland. It still makes me think it would have to make you at least think about personnel, right? If you're Logan Howland and you've got a guy like Caden Proctor who's a surefire starter at one of 2 tackle positions. You've got a guy, a 4-star from Ohio who's committed in Trevor Lauk, plus all the guys they have now who are young, like Nick DeYoung, whether you like Nick DeYoung or not. He played a lot of tackle last year, Mason Richmond. And then they got the 2 tackles. We've talked about the 2 tackles coming in this year, Cale Crow and Jack Dotzler. My point is that probably didn't help. And sure, Oklahoma is Oklahoma. I mean, these are highly regarded recruits that Iowa had on campus here a few weeks ago, and it is paying dividends. So they've missed some, which is going to happen. You're not going to be able to land all these kids, but they've won just as many as they've lost, and that's positive. We still got some again, guys on the radar that could vault them. I think top 15, solidly in the top 15 nationally. I don't know how 247 and Rivals, specifically how they weigh their rankings. I know a lot of it is numbers and whatnot. I think they're up to 17 commits now, but Iowa's in good position. Somebody asked me on my channel a few days ago, will Iowa finish in the top 25? And I said resoundingly yes. I don't know how they wouldn't, unless they had some decommits, which is always possible. But we're pretty late in the process here, Mark. We've got, football season. You're going to get a number of guys that commit during football season. You're going to have guys certainly that commit on signing day, the early signing day. But the classes are basically wrapped up by December. So I think they're in excellent position. I think they're a surefire top 25 finish, which for Iowa is tremendous given the development we know about. So I'm positive right now about recruiting. I've been saying that week after week.
So if you do go a little bit deeper on the rankings, as you mentioned, Iowa 17 commits, 14 3-stars, 2 4-stars, and a 5-star. Caden Proctor. Compare that to some of the schools in the surrounding area, let's say 10 to 20 to 25. Yeah, I think it's a mixed bag in regards to, I'm looking at total commits because that's what's going to impact these rankings. Is going to be some schools like Florida with 12, Michigan State with 12, Washington 16. So they're right there with Iowa. But there's a handful of schools, USC, that are in the vicinity of the rankings, but have far less commits. Obviously, the caliber of commits much higher. But there are plenty of schools, both within range, just higher, lower than Iowa, that have more commits. Texas Tech and Northwestern and others.
I've never understood the how. That's the one thing about these rankings. Like, go to 2024. Where is Iowa at in 20? Can you pull that up, Mark, on your?
Sure.
Pull up 2024 national team rankings.
Yep.
National team recruiting rankings. Where is Iowa at currently?
Number 3.
According to what website?
247 Sports.
Whatever. I mean, that means absolutely nothing.
Well, it means nothing. That's 4 commits.
I know, but then you have these 247 Sports guys. Just, I'm not talking about the Iowa guys or just in general. When your team, we're in July of 2022, and we're talking about how Iowa has the 3rd ranked. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's.
They don't have a single. So they don't. I believe they have 1 4-star commit for 2024. That'd be
Yes.
Fox, right? I believe.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't know why the rankings are predicated on numbers, because Iowa could go up to Ellsworth Community College and offer a bunch of JUCOs and have them all come here and drive those numbers up. Does that mean they have a great recruiting class? I don't know why that's a driving force. I think Iowa, from a 3-star perspective, depending on, these websites are, a lot of these are just numbers and rankings that are, that we're coming up with. But if you just look at Iowa's 3-star guys, I think you're getting a better crop of 3-star talent than maybe you've had in recent cycles. And then we talked about when you get a guy like Caden Proctor, that's going to help. I don't know in their algorithm how that affects the class ranking, but they're in good shape, I think. Would you say right now, just judging what you know about the national landscape, that it'd be hard for Iowa to not finish top 25 given where they are now?
Oh, I think it's far more likely that they finish in the top 25 than not, but I wouldn't be shocked if they slip just slightly less than that. But I think it's more of a certainty, top 25. And again, my last note on 2024, because we won't waste time, because it truly doesn't matter, is that basically a glut of schools after number 9 have only gotten 1 commit. So Ohio State's number 9 right now. You know what their 1 commit is? The number 1 player in the country, regardless of position.